telling us to enjoy it while they're young. But our days are filled with chaos and stress and cooking and endless laundry piles. Where's the time to enjoy anything? Yeah, that's what I always thought too. There's so much I have to do. When do I find time for peace and joy and happiness when I barely have time to sleep? Mama, it's time for a shift. You can be a happy mom. Yeah, it's possible. If I can, you can. Trust me. I've been a mess. I've been depressed. I've been overwhelmed. I've been to the bottom of the pits. And I've risen. I've grown. I've bloomed. And it all started when I realized I didn't have to anything. I get to. It is my privilege and my honor and my divine responsibility to be the queen of my home. It's not a burden. I'm not the janitor and the lunch lady. I'm in charge. I'm the ruler. I'm the chaos coordinator. I'm the calm in the storm. I don't have to anything. I get to. And so do you. So let's rise, mamas. Adjust your crown. Accept your responsibility. And change the effing world. It's all in the way you choose to see it. You're listening to I Get To, the podcast with Brittany Clarkson. That's me. Hey, friend. I have been reflecting and realizing I kind of have a lot of friends now, which is really neat. I mean, it's not like an obscene number of friends. It's like a very small handful. It's a respectable amount of friends. But for the longest time, I didn't have any at all. I became a mom and I kind of just isolated and tried to do my mom thing because none of my friends were moms and I didn't want to bother them and be like, come hang out with me and my kid while they were living their super fun non-mom lives. But I really just isolated whenever I was going through anything. I assumed no one could help me. And I thought I could do it all on my own. Oh, I was so silly. But anyways, I finally kind of have a whole group of friends again now. But what I'm finding in these newfound connections and friendships is I'm finding there's so much room for comparison. And comparison is a very sneaky trap. It sneaks in ways that we don't expect it to. And honestly, do you know what comparison is? That is judging someone. A lot of times we think that judging someone means we're having negative thoughts about them. We're thinking bad things about them without understanding their circumstances. But you become the judge when you look at someone and say, she has it easier than me. Or you say, she has all her life together and I don't have mine together. You're judging them and yourselves. And you start judging when you look at them and say that their life is so much easier than yours. And you're judging yourself. You're judging both of your capabilities, that they can do more than you can do, or that they're better than you. When the truth of the matter is, you don't know her story. You cannot know her full story. You might see the mom at soccer practice who always brings the best snacks and, always brings like healthy snacks. She's got the orange slices and fancy flavored waters or whatever. And her car's always totally clean. And her kid listens to everything she says. And you might think like, wow, she has everything together. I wish I could just be her. But you have no idea what's going on at home. Maybe her marriage is falling apart. Like, you don't know. Every big blessing, it seems, tends to have a burden behind it. And would you trade your burdens for hers? I don't think so. Would you trade your blessings for hers? I don't think so. Not when you really look at it, when you really dig deep at what you've got. I don't think you'd trade it for anything. When you really dig deep at who you are, I don't think you'd trade everything you've been through for anything. Not when you really, really look at it. All right. Because all those triumphs you see people having, they've gone through trauma to get there. I I realized this as I was driving in my car the other day and I burst into laughter. Like I almost concerned myself with the laughter because I'm just all by myself driving and I had this realization. I have this one friend who she has to be in total quiet to get any work done. She's a fellow creator of mine. She's amazing. But she has to be in total quiet. Her kids are very distracting her. She cannot work with her kids around. And here I am, like, when I don't have the kids in the house, I find it very difficult to focus and to get anything done. And I have kids, like, I'm 5 minutes into recording this right now, I think. And I've had kids pop in like 4 times already to interrupt me. And I just have to mute the mic and cut that little bit out. So if I ever seem like I'm speaking totally scatterbrained, it's because a kid popped in and interrupted me. Um, that happens frequently around here, and I know you've noticed. You hear my dog heavy breathing in the background, having coughing fits. You notice my kids screaming in the background. It's just that's how I work. Is I work well with the chaos around. Background noise. I realized um, I was thinking to myself, like, it feels like it's such a superpower. I don't know how I can do that. That's crazy. Like, that people can't. Why is it that I can? And as I'm driving the other day, I realized it's because that's how I grew up. I grew up in a house that was never quiet. We always had TVs on for background noise. Like, every single TV in the house was on 24/7 pretty much. Um, and then, like, in the evenings when, like, homework time rolled around pretty much, that's when, like, my parents would come home and all the kids would be home and somebody would always be yelling at somebody. That's the kind of house I grew up in. We communicated by being the loudest. Um, and I was the more quiet, reserved one who would just go to my room and be quiet and have all the noise around me as I'm writing my angsty teenage poems. We all did that, right? We ran off to your room to write poetry. No, just me. But I mean, in all seriousness, I'm glad for everything I've been through because it's made me who I am today. I'm glad I can work in chaos. I'm glad I can focus on important tasks and thought processes with my kids constantly walking in the room. And it happens too often that when we compare ourselves to other people, we try to find faults in ourselves or we're trying to find faults in them. And honestly, neither way is beneficial. This is another key time when gratitude comes into play. You want to look for the good in others and in yourself. Instead of looking for your flaws and your setbacks or their flaws and their setbacks, you can be looking for all the good and how can you amplify one another by sharing your good traits and the things you know, sharing your strengths, growing your strengths together. This is, I think, what it's supposed to be like to be in a village. You know, that village we're supposed to have to raise our kids. I think we're supposed to have a village to support ourselves as well. And I think when we have friendships and we drop the comparison and we don't let it be this sneaky form of judgment anymore, and instead we really look to lift each other up, to encourage one another, then I think it amplifies all of our lives of everyone involved so well. I think it makes us all better moms. I think it provides more support for our kids when we have more support for ourselves through friendships and connections. I mean, you are who you are for a purpose because you're who you need to be. You're who your kids need to have as a mom. You're who the world needs. You're uniquely created, and all your triumphs that came from trials and your burdens that turn into blessings. It's all been for a reason and a purpose to carefully curate the person you are today. And I mean, the bottom line is it's not your place to judge anyone, others, or yourself, because you don't know the full story. You don't know exactly how the entire universe works. You don't know God's plan. You can't. It's beyond you. You can trust that you're who you're supposed to be, and you're where you're supposed to be, and you're headed where you're supposed to be. Just don't go alone. Take your friends with you. Well, friend, I've told you many times about the struggles I've been through with my mental health and lacking discipline to care for myself and the hatred of housework. So how have I gotten from being an absolute hot mess to being who I am today? A woman who genuinely loves her life, one who doesn't stress about housework, one who can manage to keep a kitchen semi-clean on a daily basis. How did I go from that hot mess to literally living my dream? I want to share that with you. I want to share with you my step-by-step how to follow this path to build your dream life. You want to know all the anxiety practices I use to overcome that? How I keep from backsliding all the way back into depression? You want to know what journal prompts that'll help you? You want to know the step-by-step details of this journey? This is it. Doors are opening September 30th, and they will stay open until October 11th for enrollment into the Happy Mom Method online course development program. Be here in this first round of enrollments and get into a special Facebook group that is just for you guys. And in that group, you'll be able to get your questions answered in a private group of like-minded women, all wanting the same things from life: happiness, balance, joy, peace, ease. And let's work together to build this thing that's going to change the lives of thousands of women to come after this. There's a link in the description to enroll in the Happy Mom Method. And enrollment opens again on September 30th till October 11th. If enrollment hasn't opened yet when you're listening to this episode, you can get on a wait list, and I'll send you a link. The moment it opens up, I will email you a link to enroll. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of I Get To. It really does mean the world to me to have you here. But are you ready to take this a step farther? Check the description below this episode and grab the Happy Mom Mindset mini guide. It's totally free to you, and it's not just for moms, by the way. Then hop onto Instagram. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Share your screenshot, tag me, Britt Clarkson. And if any part of this has resonated with you, I so appreciate if you'd leave me a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts. It really is just the only way podcasts get seen. And then share this on social, text it to your bestie. You're part of a movement now. We're here to change the minds of moms everywhere. It doesn't have to be just this hard, hot mess thing anymore. We get to enjoy our lives, guys. Let's go.